Season 19 of Oswego Sports Update. We got it all for you tonight. We got Oswego Sports, we got headline hits, we got talk of the town. So let's kick things off on the perfect note. Wait, what are you guys doing? What is this?
You said let's take our kicks off.
Yes, we took our kicks off.
That what you said, right?
Roll it.
What did I do?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to, get this boys, Season 19 of Oswego Sports Update. I know. I'm your host, James Cataldo, joined alongside me, Bo Drake Deese and Mike Morano. We're so excited that you chose to spend your Monday nights with us. We promise you won't regret it. We got a great show for you tonight, a different show for you tonight, so let's not waste any time and jump right into the madness. The Oswego State men's soccer team tied nationally ranked Cortland on Saturday by a score of 1-1. Steven Rojas scored the only goal for Oswego just 34 seconds into the second half to snap a 12-game losing streak against SUNY Cortland, dating all the way back to 2006. Long time. Oswego would move to 7-3-1 on the season and 2-0-1 in the SUNYAC. Moving over to next week, they face a tough opponent in SUNY Oneonta, who have lost 21 straight games against them. What did Oswego do right in their game against Cortland, Mike, and what do they need to do to beat their nationally ranked Oneonta to hopefully break the losing streak?
Well, this team is a lot different. I feel like this team is really deep. They got guys like Steven Rojas, who has been, he scored the only goal they had last game. He totally splits the defenders, gets around, and then you have guys like Caleb Osimo. We got guys like Kyle Scalzo, who could be explosive anytime. He scored 2 goals before in one game as well. So they got guys that they could use, and also, Brian Terra. We can't, really say enough about him. He's allowed 1 goal in the past 4 games. He's really just been lights out. And so, really, what Oswego has done really well is that they're able to score quickly off the half. They scored with 34 seconds into the second half. We've seen against RIT where they scored McKieran Gilroy scoring 15 seconds into the game. But the thing is, when they score so fast, they really let up a lot of the physicality. They let up and they let teams come back in their zone and come back and kind of score and tie this game up. So what they need to do is they need to keep the same energy that they've always had in the beginning of the game and just keep that throughout the rest of the game.
Yeah, Oswego, they've been a really successful team. Moving from one successful team to another, the Oswego State men's ice hockey team hit the podium earlier today to talk about the upcoming season. It was a decent year for Oswego, who finished the season with a record of 19-7-2. Although they lost at home in the Elite Eight against Hobart, head coach Ed Gosick says the team is hungry going into the season, even though they lost their best defenseman.
Importantly, good people that are here for the right reasons, willing to put in the time and the effort, as Devin did. How will we replace his? I think our D-corps veteran. We got high expectations for our D-corps this year. We feel that that there's a lot of depth and competition for positions, but at the same time, there's confidence.
Great words from Coach Gosick. Bo, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts about this year's team? How far can they go in their eyes without Campbell?
Well, obviously, Devin Campbell's going to be a big loss for the team. He's not as far as production goes. He only scored 1 goal all season last year, but he had 10 assists. So in terms of creating momentum for other players, he's going to be huge. Of course, whenever you lose a veteran presence like that, it's going to be tough for you to build that. But I think that they can have high hopes for this year. Losing at home in the Elite Eight might have done a little bit to stay in the minds of the returning players coming into this year. But I think that with a younger core led by a lot of really, really solid contributing veterans, they're going to be able to move really strongly into this year. And I see them making an even stronger push than they did last year.
Well, it's going to be really interesting. Coach Gosick said that that's all in the memory bank from what happened last year, and now it's just time to move forward. This week in our Laker highlight, it's relatively quiet, but the end of the week, the weekend, is going to be pretty fun. The field hockey team and men's soccer teams will take the Laker turf at 11 a.m. and 2:45 p.m. The field hockey team will take on Cortland, and the soccer team is going up against New Paltz. Guys, these are great matchups. A lot of predictions being thrown out there. But when we get back, we have the greatest headline hits of the nation, the hottest topics, and the talk of the town, New York City style. Don't move that dial. OSU. We'll be right back.
don't you move that dial?
Welcome back to OSU. We got the hottest headline hits in the nation, so let's not waste any time.
That's pretty hot.
That was a good one.
And dive right into it. The Los Angeles Lakers are looking to rewrite the script and make the playoffs for the first time in 6 years. Showtime came off a 123-101 win over the Golden State Warriors, and the highlight of the night, LeBron James and Anthony Davis looked like they'd been playing together for literally years.
They've only played for one.
Between the passes and overall willingness to share the court with each other, the two looked like they were in sync the entire night. Bo, are you buying this, and do you think the chemistry will carry throughout the entire season?
Listen, I'm not going to go ahead and just say 100% that I'm buying LeBron AD. I'm just going to go ahead off of what I saw. And the fact of the matter is that those two look incredibly dangerous, and the rest of the league should be very worried. I think everybody has been writing that the Clippers are going to be the dominant team in LA. Listen, I think the Clippers are still going to be the better team in LA, but I don't think it's going to be by the margin that everybody is predicting. I get that Kawhi and Paul George are still in the same team, but Paul George still has to recover, and Kawhi still has to, still be Kawhi.
Yeah, I mean, these two teams are going to be battling it out literally all season. And imagine a Los Angeles Western Conference Finals.
I would lose my mind.
Literally, could you imagine? That would be
mind.
crazy. All 7 games in the Staples Center. It'd be a great feat to watch. The NBA has released the official heights for most NBA players. Most would think that these heights would not change very often, but some of these players have been through some dramatic changes, believe it or not. Some examples of this include the Celtics listing newly signed Kemba Walker as 5'11" instead of 6'1". Zion Williamson went from 6'7" to 6'6", and Kevin Durant is listed as 6'10" instead of 6'9". It seems the NBA is cracking down on official heights, which begs the question, Mike, does this make any crazy changes to the NBA? Does it even matter?
I mean, like, unless teams are like, oh my God, Kemba Walker is now 5'11", change the whole plan. Change every plan possible. I mean, I don't really think this really shows anything. I mean, the only times that this matters is that people like us who like to study these stats, I guess. And I mean, this really kind of just shines on NCAA's incompetence of actually measuring people, apparently, because they're getting a couple inches short here. So, no, I don't really think this matters. I think it's just cool to see how bad they messed up and see how crazy people are going to freak out over this. Like, okay, so if Kemba Walker's 6'1", how are we going to – I don't know what to do anymore. Like these people have played him before. This doesn't change anything, in my opinion.
And just to throw this little tidbit out there, Derrick Rose is now listed at 6'1.5". You thought I wasn't going to mention him. You thought I wasn't going to mention him in the season premiere.
No, we're fine.
Your boy had
That's
to
good.
do it. Very cool. It's Taco Tuesday. Well, actually, it's Monday, but it's taco every day now. Taco Fall made his debut on the Boston Celtics and received a standing ovation from the TD Garden. The 7'7" UCF product, yes, 7'7", don't worry, the new measurement's 7'7", did not disappoint. Over the course of his 8 minutes on the floor, he scored 5 points, had 3 nice tacos, had 3 rebounds, and 2 blocks. A decent contribution from the rookie on a team that is hoping for him to perform. Bo, you're literally our resident Boston fan, which is why we need to get the analysis from you. Why do you think this city is so excited for Taco Fall this year?
Okay, Boston, number one, has always been into big players. We're bringing.
They're going to say big tacos.
No, we like big tacos
we
too.
love our tacos.
We like
down
big bowls of
Boston.
clam chowder though. So think about it. Big Poppy, Kevin Garnett, the big ticket, and now we got Taco Fall. We love our big players, and he brings so much excitement. I really think he's kind of an underrated prospect for this year. I think that he's going to be the backup to Enes Kanter, and I think that he is going to bring so much more to the table. He's not going to get crazy minutes. I think Enes Kanter is going to run most of the game, but I really believe that he is going to be one of the catalysts for, at least on the defensive side, because he is exactly what the Boston Celtics have needed for at least a season and a half now. The fact that they have no inside presence that can consistently score off rebounds and get consistent blocks. You're not going to get that with Aaron Baines. You can get that with Taco Fall.
As long as Taco Fall can stay out of foul trouble and he can play a little more consistent minutes, he's going to be pretty dangerous for the Celtics.
Yes, he is.
This past Thursday, the New York Mets announced that their manager, Mickey Callaway, has been fired after only 2 seasons on the team. It was decided that due to his poor communication to each game on the field, the Mets greatly underachieved this season, even after their second half hot streak. There's certainly a lot of buzz on the vacancy of the position. Former managers such as Buck Showalter and Joe Girardi have expressed their interest in taking the position. Even Carlos Beltran. Although Girardi has an interview scheduled with the Chicago Cubs, it seems he would strongly consider the Mets if they were to call, despite managing the Yankees. Mike, who could you see being the Mets' new manager?
Hi, Joe. It's me, Mike. You haven't been answering my DMs or anything that I've come your way, so I'm gonna have to. I know you're watching the show, so I'm just gonna come at you straight on here. Please come to New York. Please come to the Mets, dude. We need you. I need you personally. As a I'm talking to you man to man here. Just a couple guys who, have
Just
some
a couple
New York,
dudes being
just
dudes.
A couple dudes being guys here. Please come to New York. We need you more than ever. I don't want to come back. I don't want to come back and have Carlos Beltran as our manager anymore. I don't want that to even be a thought in my head.
Why not? Why not?
Why
Mike?
not? Because I don't like this whole player turned manager thing. I think Alex Cora has put these images or like this idea that players that were great could be good managers too, and this is not the case. So hey Joe, please just answer my DMs. Please come back to New York. We need Joe Girardi more than anything.
Well, we'll see what happens to those Mays and Mets. When we come back, it's our Talk of the Town, New York City edition. Are the Yankees the favorite to win the World Series? I'd say so, but this Red Sox fan and this Mets fan, they might disagree. Find out our takes after the break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to OSU and welcome to Talk of the Town. The New York Yankees have gone up 2-0 in the ALDS over the Minnesota Twins, and it probably looks like they're going to sweep. They're currently up 2-0 in Minnesota in the bottom of the fifth. Let's not make any
here.
Yeah, I might jinx it. Who knows? The Yankees are knocking on their second ALCS appearance in 3 years, looking to grab their first World Series in just 10 years. With other big-time teams like the Dodgers and Astros struggling to put away the Rays and Nationals, are the Yankees the new front-runner to win the World Series, Mike?
I mean, it sure looks like it. I mean, the Rays have scored 10 runs against the Astros. I mean, Zach Greinke did not look good at all. The Dodgers are struggling to put away the Nationals. They're going to a Game 5, it sure seems like. So, I mean, with the Yankees really just putting away the Twins here, the Twins have not really made any sort of fight later in the games. I mean, we got guys that are stepping up on all cylinders for the Yankees. And, I mean, even though the starting pitching probably hasn't been the greatest, but the offense has certainly been keeping up, too. So I can really see the Yankees making another World Series appearance here. Is this when
Bro,
Bo
this
goes?
kills you. I can tell.
Listen, okay. I know I was on the show constantly last year wearing Red Sox jerseys.
Right.
We're like 5 episodes or something.
Talking about yeah, it was something crazy like that. There was one where I was wearing a Bruins and a Red Sox jersey at the same time. Listen,
Crazy time.
I have to
College.
take off the jersey and the hat for the Yankees. They have played exceptional baseball this season. I'm not going to raise my voice above this level because I think if I do, I'm going to go off. But
Gonna go insane.
I think that the Yankees are probably the favorite to win the World Series this year. The consistency of their play, the consistency of the pitching, and the amount they played in spurts like the Red Sox did last year, and very contact hitting and being able to get on base. But yeah, I think they're the favorite.
Now, we just see this Didi Gregorius wonderful grand slam.
That grand slam is awesome.
That bat flip, is it even a bat flip?
I think he was just kind of like, let me just get this over with. All right, there it is. All right, I'm looking at it. Okay,
It was a no-doubter for sure.
Yeah.
So Didi Gregorius, obviously that massive grand slam. I wouldn't say he was their best player though. Who would you say has been the Yankees' best player to this point?
I really like what Aaron Judge has been doing. I mean, defensively, we saw in Game 1 and 2, defensively, he's been making a lot of great stops, too. I mean, I don't know if you could really pinpoint this on one player. It seems like the Yankees are really going by their next man up mentality, as some would say. So I really like what the Yankees have been doing. It seems like they're just a really complete team from 1 to 9. So especially in the playoffs here, you need every guy to step up, and especially with them going against the Astros, it seems like if Zach Greinke can't finish that, I mean, if he's having trouble putting away the Rays, I don't know.
Yeah, but the Rays are a really good team. The Rays are another 100-win team. Like every year, the Rays are contending to be. They weren't actually a 100-win team, but they're contending every single year.
Well, you said they are, and they're not.
To be, but really though, they're contending every single year to be. That AL East powerhouse.
Yeah, and I get that. It's just that a wild card team like the Rays, it just seems like the Astros have just been that good though. I mean, I think they've had 110, 111 wins this season.
Yeah, it's
somewhere
crazy.
around that.
It's crazy.
And with the 1-2-3 punch like they have with Verlander, Cole, and Greinke, it just seems like they should be putting away these wild card teams like it's nothing. They really should be taking care of them with no issues. I'm not saying that just because Greinke had a missed game that now it's automatically the Yankees, but I think if the time were to happen, it's going to happen. It should happen now. But if he's struggling against the Rays, how is he going to do against the Yankees?
It's a very valid point. The question, though, is that if it's not the Astros, it's not the Rays, they're beating up on the Twins, who really stands in in the way of the Yankees? Who is the biggest threat to them?
It's just got to be their starting pitching. I really think if they're starting
so
pitching,
it's no specific team. It's their own starting.
I think
pitching.
the Yankees are incredibly talented. I mean, there's no denying that. With every guy stepping. I mean, DJ LeMahieu coming up out of nowhere, like we thought he wasn't going to.
It's not that he came up out of nowhere. I mean, he was a multiple-time
Do
Gold
we
Glove
think DJ
winner.
is going to be the main topic here of the Yankees team, or one of the hot
Definitely
big
not.
bats? Like, I think if they just the starting pitching's always been their biggest weakness or their biggest question mark. So if they're able to scratch that and they're able to fix that issue, then I think the Yankees are the most complete team in baseball.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I would agree that I think Judge is their most consistent player, but I think the only thing standing between them and a World Series is them. I think they just have to make sure that they can continue to be consistent and making sure that they're building on their momentum.
And I mean, obviously building on momentum is a massive thing, especially when you have the opportunity to go up against the Dodgers.
I mean, the Dodgers too have not looked great at all.
No, you're 100% right, but they have to play an opponent in the National League, and you have to build momentum in order to get through that very tough American League. Who do you play in the National League right now? Because it's such a toss-up between the Cardinals, Braves, Nationals, and Dodgers.
If I had to pick right now, I really like the Braves.
Really?
Like
Even though the Cardinals are giving them so much trouble
They're giving
right
them
now.
trouble, but the Braves just look awesome. Like Dansby Swanson coming out of nowhere. I mean, he's been pretty quiet.
He's been injured.
He's been injured too, so him coming out, I like their starting pitching. The Braves, to me, have just looked the most threatening. Especially, I think the Dodgers come out of this one because I think the Nationals are just physically incapable of coming out of a playoff series. And no, the wild card game does not count as them going. I see that all the time. Like, yeah, Max Scherzer saying, yeah, I'm glad we finally got over that, that challenge. I'm like, no, that's not it. You didn't advance. I'm sorry. They still have that stigma with them. I think the Dodgers, just when playoffs come around, they just don't know how to play baseball. So I really like the Braves in this one.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the Dodgers also especially have history going against them. There has to be a mental piece for them in that, considering that how many times they've been to the World Series in the last few years and they haven't won, and just how blatantly obvious their collapse has been because of that when they get to that point. So I think
the Yankees are playing with some house money.
I
think so.
And then
Thanks, Bob.
the last thing I'll ask you, percentage-wise, give me a percentage. Do the Yankees win it all? What's the percentage that they do?
75. Off the dome piece, 75.
Off the dome piece.
Off the dome piece, 75. I just think that they're standing in front of themselves to win this. I think they're the biggest challenge.
80%.
80%?
80%.
I'm going to say a clean 95%. I think if the Yankees don't win the World Series, I think it's got to be the Astros. At this point, you have Verlander, you have Greinke, you have Cole. Cole, by the way, could be an option for the Yankees to pick up next year. Domingo Germán's not coming back. It could be a possibility that we see the Astros winning the World Series if it's not the Yankees, because I can't see anyone out of the National League doing it. When we come back, I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty sad. The New York Jets have been an absolute mess, and I'm not going to let my I am. I'm going to let my frustrations out and enter sad boy hours up next. Stay tuned. You're watching OSU. Be told I became a Jets fan because when I was little, green was my favorite color. Now I wish my favorite color was anything else, because seeing this team play is quite frankly an absolute disaster. Going into this new season, I thought it was time to turn over a new leaf on the New York Jets. They picked up C.J. Mosley, Le'Veon Bell, Jamison Crowder, just so many assets. They even fired general manager Mike Maccagnan. I thought it was a fresh start. But after week 5, well, I couldn't have been more wrong. It all started in week 1. When Mosley and Quinnen Williams, Alabama's D tackle that the Jets took in the first round, went down with injuries. Sure, they lost to the Buffalo Bills. but I thought that it was solely due to injury and that it would all get better in week 2. Remember, the Jets, they were beating the Bills pretty bad before those injuries. But in classic Jets fashion, it just got worse. Quarterback Sam Darnold came down with mono. Mono! Okay, sure. That's pretty bad. It wasn't too bad, not ideal, but not the end of the world. The team still had Trevor Siemian, a very respectable backup in the NFL. But after a season-ending ankle injury after getting tackled by Myles Garrett, and it was a pretty harsh tackle, New York had to rely on Luke Falk. Yeah, Luke Falk, to get the job done. I'm not blaming Falk for the down times at MetLife Stadium, but I am putting the blame on this guy, head coach Adam Gase. You know, I saw a stat on the Jets' Instagram that said at this rate, Le'Veon Bell is projected to hit over 1,300 scrimmage yards. You know how absurd that is by himself in his first season after taking a year off? For the offensive guru that Adam Gase claims to be, you would think that Bell doesn't have to give the team almost 25 touches a game and that Gase would be able to mix it up a little bit on the offensive end without just being so predictable. One thing I know above anything else is that Gase needs to be ready for the storm that he's about to get on social media, from the media during press conferences, whatever it may be. If he leads this team to an 0-6 record, and I get it, the first 6 games for the Jets, the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Patriots, it's a really tough 6 first games. And after that, sure, their last 10 games, the Jaguars, the Bills, it could get so much easier. But Gardner Minshew looks really good. Josh Allen looks really good. But they could feature fully healthy players and a chance to win the bulk of those games. If Darnold's able to come back healthy, who knows? But as it stands now, it remains to be seen as to whether or not the Jets can even close out games. Darnold didn't show it last year. He hasn't shown it in the game against Buffalo. I get it. Darnold said he wasn't 100%. But Gase should be able to coach Darnold, healthy or unhealthy, to be able to lead an offense. We're already hearing whispers of hashtag fire Gase. Hopefully, he can get his stuff together so that they don't go through their 3rd head coach in 10 years. Thanks for watching. Tune in next week when we travel to Texas, specifically Houston, to talk about the Astros playoff hopes and the state of the Texans. Thanks for watching, and for all of us here, I'm James Cataldo. Sleep tight and have a good night.
Good evening and welcome to WTOP 10 Nightly News.
Total, Baldwin faces 32 charges.
Saturday, I went to Woodchuck Saloon.
Too much temperature change.
1310 meteorologist.
2 as well.
Predictions from Tanner Spink go to 2-1.
With 6 and 10 on the year.